Yo, yo, yo. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Monday. Taking it back just a quick second. Looking at my Gucci. It's about that time.
Oh,
It's Monday, Motivational Monday. We do this each and every week. Me and the guy over there on the other side of me. He does this every week. He started it. He brought me in. And we just love, starting everybody's week off right. We want to kick things off like it's supposed to be kicked off. I know a lot of you usually start this week off feeling some sort of kind of way. Just depends on what your, first day of the week is. Most of us, it's Monday. So you kind of feel some kind of way. You're kind of trying to get your footing together. You're just fresh off the weekend and back in the week as it stands. So we're hoping that everybody had a phenomenal and a great weekend. And I will just start the ball rolling. My weekend was incredible. I only did one thing all weekend, but it was an incredible, incredible weekend. So, as I stated, on Saturday, if you guys were around to catch our race debaters on Saturday, I told y'all I had only one thing on my docket this weekend, and that was my partner, one of my other partners in crime, 50th birthday celebration for his late wife. And when I tell y'all, it was an absolute blast. It was an absolute blast. I was so
nice.
happy for him. It went off without a hitch. He had, you know, people from all walks of life as part of the celebration. So he had her church family there. He went to two separate schools. He went to Winston-Salem State, and he went to what you call out on Long Island, Westbury. So he had his Westbury family there. He had his Winston-Salem State family there. He had other people who he works with and she works with. Her hairdresser was there, but it was just, what was so crazy is going in my mind, I pictured it one way, and then it turned into something super dope. T. So uh, a cat who you might know, DJ out of the Bronx and Harlem, Tommy Guns. I had him actually do the music for the event. He did my mom's 80th birthday, and since he did such a phenomenal job on my mom's 80th birthday, I was like, "You'll be perfect for this, Tommy. I
There
just
you
need you
go.
to be you." And he came in, did the damn thing. Like I said, my man had an open bar all night, plenty of food, so it was a lot of food for people to eat and snack on and everything. And and the menu was nice. Had fish, had chicken, had salad. It had a little bit of everything. So it was a very, very nice menu. But here's where it really got fun. So he's got one of his partners who he met when he was going to Winston-Salem State, his boy Phil. Phil, like me, we in there, we get there early. We like, look, we just want to make sure if there's any last minute stuff that you need taken care of, we got you. So he gets there early. And what happened was my partner, since his wife passed, he had a picture painted of her where he took, I think it's either 15 or 16 different looks from pictures that they had over the years. And the guy painted them all on one painting. And it's so dope because he calls it the faces of Mal. So he hangs it up and he's like, whenever he's, feeling some kind of way, he looks at the picture and all eyes are kind of on him, like almost like a Tupac thing. But he's got this one picture at the bottom where she's giving him the side eye. So he like, I know whenever I'm getting out of line, that's the one, that's the one that's looking at me. Really? That's what we're doing? So we we have the event. People start pouring in. It's a good look. The problem, probably where it went left for me, T, is they had Tito's flowing all night for free. You can't let them
You
have
said it
Tito's.
went left.
Yeah, it went left.
This is
That's,
where this is where
this,
it went
this,
left.
this is where it went left. So I'm in there. My man said, yo, man, I just need you to be like my photographer and just, kind of, do what you always do. So I said, I got you. No problem, bro. I got you. But like I said, the Tito's is flowing freely because it's an open bar. So I'm drinking the Tito's. I'm moving around throughout the crowd doing what I do. And when it came time to take the pictures, he wanted everybody to take pictures in front of the backdrop that he had of the thing with his wife. So to start the ball rolling, the table that I'm at is part of his Westbury team. These are the guys he went to college with and their wives, whatever. So Tommy Guns throws on Barry White's When We Met. When We Met. I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, shoot, wait a minute. So everybody's getting in, we doing our head nod and everything's, going, rocking and rolling. Now, the table of her churchgoers, these are the elders from the church. So they know Mal since she was a baby. And they really are the elders. Like, we had Jesus over there. Uh, Immaculate Mary was at that table. It was going down. So, so I lean into the table and I'm sitting at here. I tell everybody at the table when the Barry White joint came on, I said, Mr. Charles is over there talking to Gertrude and telling her, you know you're gonna get it tonight. She like, Charles, stop playing. You cut that out. You know you ain't ready for this. So the table that I'm at, they dying. They like, yo, you are stupid as hell. I'm like, look, we gotta have some fun here. My man is dealing with this situation. We need everybody to be in good spirits. So the music flowing, everything. He's like, yo, man, I need you over by the picture booth. So I go over and he takes a picture with each table. So everybody's coming up, tables are coming up, and he gets to the church table. So now I'm in rare form because I got about six Tito's in me. I'm like, Miss Burlitha, are you gonna get in the picture or are you gonna get out the picture? And don't give me none of them poses from 1942. I need you to pose for now. When I tell you, T, I was in such rare form. Half of the stuff I don't even remember because he was telling me it later. He said, yo, son, he said, everybody all night was like, who's the dude with the hat and the burger? He said, that's my man Amir. He said, they was like, yo, he hasn't stopped dancing yet. He said, and he's not even dancing like he normally does. This is him like doing light stuff. You got to see him when he's really in the zone. So I ended up, really turning the party from his standpoint into a highlight. And he said, man, I really appreciate the fact that you really, tried to get everybody engaged because I was going to tables, people dancing, and they see them like, legs not working. Good from the waist down. Is that what's going on? Like, what are we doing here? It was, I was just starting all kind of stuff.
So he
Then
was the life of the party.
life of the party. Then my sister was there and my eldest daughter's mother was there. So I'm dancing with her. And, she my eldest daughter's mom. So we dancing, whatever, whatever. My man kept on walking past me. He's like, look, I'm going to need y'all to stop. People going to think y'all still together. And I know you niggas ain't been together in years. Like, I need y'all to just stop, knock it off. So we cracking jokes, man. It was just a good time. Everybody had an absolute blast, man. And the reason why I chose that to also be the feel good story is because, in all fairness, and a lot of people who, on our live and who watch us say that, we talk about things that are motivating. First of all, it was absolutely incredible to see my man pull that, event together and pull it off, obviously with the help of her friends and so forth and so on. But I think the blessing in it to me was, so often we don't really think about what kind of impact our significant others have on us or people who we love just in general. And to watch him and to see the event go the way that it went, I was super, super thoroughly impressed. And I just said to myself, I said, yo, because there was a lot of his college friends who also brought their wives. And I said, bro, all I can tell you is, you messed it up for a lot of dudes on the way home tonight. It's going to be a lot of chicks getting in them cars. You ain't shit, Tyrone. He did a whole birthday party for our 50th. You won't even go to Walmart with you cheap bastard, you. Yo, he was in tears. Yeah, they was laughing so much all night. They was like, yo, I said, I can't help myself, y'all. So hanging out with comedians and being around y'all, I don't know. I'm in the zone tonight. So we just had an absolute ball, but it was a really, really nice thing, man. And I gave him his kudos and his props. He gave it back to me. He said, brother, if it wasn't for you, he said, I don't think I would have got through this the way that I did. He said, because you really lent your normal energy and everything that you do. So I was humbled and thankful for that, man. So I just,
No,
wanted
that's a
to
real feel good story. That's a great weekend. First of all, I got two feel good stories I'm gonna get to. Before that, just a recap of the weekend. It was it ended up being a good weekend. Like, that's one thing I do love about myself. If I gotta love anything about myself, is how resourceful I get at times. You know what I mean? When I need to be. So everybody knows there was this storm watch going on from last Thursday. So Thursday, I was flying from here to Houston, then going from Houston to Austin, then to San Antonio, right? 3 days. So I'm in the airport, and this particular day, because I had to do something with the dog. The dog had a doctor's appointment in the morning. So I made sure I got, afternoon flight. So I'm sitting in there about 1 o'clock and I'm just listening to these people running frantic and everything around. I was on American originally. So I'm like, this look like it's all bad. Something bad about to happen, whatever. Because they're talking about these ice storms and flights were getting canceled left and right. So anything going to Texas and coming out of Texas, that was the number one hot spot of the no-no. So I'm like, oh shit. So Americans starting to do the bullshit. Any volunteers? And like they ain't got enough room for motherfuckers on the flight. They talking about weight restrict, all this shit, right? So I'm like already peeping game. So long story short, I got creative and changed out of there onto United, which I had to do instead of my direct because of the weather. I had to connect, but I ended up getting there with what we call a nick of time. Like coming from the airport, I had to leave my bags. I got to grab that tomorrow on the way out. Right now, if I'm going to make this show and not owe them money, I got to jump in this Uber, as soon as I get there. So it worked out. Show went well. Woke up the next day. Like I said, went to the airport, got the bags, headed over to Austin, which was the 2-show night. Friday was good. Then Saturday, San Antonio 2-show night as well. Now, thank God for some merchandise, having the merchandise. And I was surprised because originally I wasn't going to bring no hoodies to Texas. I'm thinking it's going to be warm. Man, it was the same weather we had here. So thank God I bought that joint and moved those, the units and everything and made it happen. And we had a good time, man. The guy, shout out to B Smooth out there as a promoter out of the Houston area, Texas, where, this is like my 4th, 5th time working with the brother. He's always on point. He does his thing. So, as a comic, as anybody who travels on the road, you love when things are on point. Like when things ain't on point, you don't need another damn thing to worry about, especially in the nerve-wracking business of stand-up comedy. You know what I mean? So, no, the weekend was dope. I got back. Again, same thing, because I had changed the flight going. I had to change the flight coming back. So I didn't get back as early as I would have liked to, but safe and sound. Like I said, like when I talk to God every prayer, I'm like safe and sound on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it was all good. Now, get to my first feel-good story. I'm sure people who are not sleeping on the rock have heard it time and time again, blasted over the entertainment news and the trending pipelines, TMZ and all these things. This is a 2-in-1 story here where shout out to my comrades, Eddie Murphy and Dave Chappelle, because they have cut these big Netflix deals, which is they're turning around because they done did so much in their career. Like they done turned around and said, okay, well, let us become these gatekeepers and these ushers, if you will, of ushering in all those other people with sub deals, so to speak. I got one big overall deal, and I'm going to cut sub deals with cats you guys may not be privy of knowing how funny they are. So Eddie Murphy has yet to announce, the endeavors and how he's going to do it, but I'm sure we know how he's going to do it. It's Eddie Murphy too, so he'll probably do more. So he'll probably do a couple of specials of cats, but I know he'll probably do more, either episodes or seasons, series or movies, which he's very excellent at. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
shout out to him for that. Now Chappelle already started producing fellow DC comedians, and then I think today, if I'm not mistaken, I think today's Monday. Earthquakes should have come out today or tomorrow.
Okay.
Shout out to my comedy comrade. So produced by Dave Chappelle. Donnell
Nice.
Rollins. Donnell Rollins is next.
Nice.
All
Nice.
DC cats. Dave honed his skills in DC. So look for the Tony Woods and look for everybody to have, their own thing, at his home front first and foremost. But sky's the limit. So that's a double joint. Yeah, today, Sharon, yes, today. So that's a double joint of releasing these two iconic comedians, making it happen for and giving back to the game, if you will. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
story number one. Now, feel good story number two is we got to give it up. I know motherfuckers go back and forth how they feel about my president. And I say my president right now, because you see this Negro picked a black woman to nominate for the Supreme Court Justice.
Yes, sir.
Now here's the thing. This is why I'm gonna mess with my man Joe. That's why I like Joe. Joe could have eaten. Whenever people who lack pigmentation, whenever Caucasians for the occasion make an announcement of, yo, I'm gonna get a black person, it's always, you can almost set your watch to it. 99.9% of the time is that black white motherfucker. You know what I mean? Is a dude named Benny Jenkins or some shit like that, or Benny Johnson, or
Yeah.
Benny Barini, right? So they do that. But Joe said, no, fuck that. I said black. So he grabbed a sister whose name is Kitanji. Now, that's as close as you're gonna get in the African tribe right there.
Facts.
Kitanji? Kitanji is in that joint. So shout out to Joe for saying it and doing it, because they always say it. Politicians always say it. Question is, do they do it? This is one thing the man said, and he did. And the full name is Ketanji Brown Jackson. Congratulations. That's a feel-good double story. Now,
Yes.
let's
Yes.
expound on this name, right? Because this is a topic I want to go into. For a man that's never been married, don't think I don't study the shit. Don't think I don't study the shit. Don't think because I have never been married, you think I don't know about marriage? Shit. Here's the thing. Now this is going to be a little opinionated, and then you people chime in, and Amir, you tell me what you think. The one thing that stands out to me, because whenever I think of marriage, just like anything else, I'm a troubleshooter by nature. So I think of all the marriages that don't work and why. Why? Like if I had to guess, why would I think it didn't work and blah, blah, blah. Remember when we talked about last time we spoke, we were on our race base and we were mentioning humanity.
Yes.
And the problem with humanity is we go solo and, we don't care about our fellow female or male or out there, these people that we coexist with. Now, I think a lot of marriages fail, and I'm gonna use marriage because coupling is one thing. Marriage is supposed to be the end all be all of the exclusivity of coupling. So I think the problem is overall is people don't realize that marriage is a union. The one thing that's synonymous, every marriage or wedding I've been to, no matter what ethnic background is performing this ceremony, the one thing they all share in common is preaching the unity, the unifying of these two souls. And before God, they're taking an oath before God, and they're promising to do whatever for each other, whatever. But again, the key thing is unifying and getting it together to bring it in as one. Now, it made me think of that when I'm reading about our queen sister here, because she has her name and then her husband's name.
Hyphenated.
So she got Brown Jackson. And I remember we used to have, when this first became fashionable, we had a lot of, I'm not going to say arguments, but discussions, heated and not, back and forth of what signal is that giving off. Now, I'm old school. I realize that. I have old school values that I stand by. And to me, the whole tradition here in this country of taking the last name of your new significant other, you take the husband's name. So if you was Tina Campbell, now Tina Smith. You know what I mean? Campbell was your maiden name. You don't use that no more. But because of this whole insurgence of equality and, I'm every woman and and treat me right and corporate. I'm just as good as the man. Now you get a lot of the women, especially women in business, who want to keep their name and hyphenate it or space to the next name. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And there's even a couple who don't even use the second name and just keep their shit. Now,
Yeah.
my question is, or my opinion is, isn't that an ingredient in the recipe for failure for this union? Because to me, it's coming from a mindset of individuality. And I think for a marriage to work, at some point, really it's supposed to be from the inception, but the individuality has to lose out to the unity, to the unifying of the two souls. Or it's setting up for failure, because How could it last? It's supposed to be a union.
Mm. That's a very, very, very good
Think
point.
about
That's a very good point. No, that's a
it.
very
If
good point.
if I'm
It's
coming into something, okay, it's equivalent to if I got married. I think we would have, and I know all of our finances and bank accounts would be in one or joint.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
if I have a, think about it, because Amir, if I have, it's the same argument for that that is for prenup. Prenup is a catchy thing, right? It's real sticky situation because if the any person who's not the one asking for a prenup could easily look at it like, you don't love me, you don't trust me, you need a prenup, right? But then the other side, the person could look at it like, well, I just want to protect myself just in case. But nigga, if you're going into it with just in case, you're not all the way in already.
And I think that I think the that's probably within itself the bigger issue of not only the union or the idea of the union, but everything else, that goes along with it. I tend to believe this. I think uh it's not necessarily a ideology of losing your individuality. I think what we tend to miss, to me, when it comes to the union is, in all fairness, however and whatever you met that person, meaning their outgoingness, their loudness, whatever, commonalities, whatever things attracted to you in the first place, that's who the hell they are. The problem is, once we get together, there is this either tone it down, or I want you to start kind of losing some of that, because when I met you, you were part of the world. And I think that that's technically, to me, where everything goes left, because what happens is now you're asking me at the core of who I am to start changing that. And that's not fair to the person who you met, because, in all fairness, I was actually kind of good. The fact that you're here now adds to, whatever we have going on, but it shouldn't overtake it. And I think, to the point that you're making, or to the point that I'm trying to make, I think that's where things go left, because, in all fairness, so many of us in general, not individually, but in general, we don't have great sense of self individually. So when you don't have great sense of self, unfortunately, what we do is we go into the world and we hope that finding somebody or something else will give us that sense. And you can't, it doesn't operate that way. It really has to operate from the inside out, meaning you have to figure all that out and then allow the universe to connect you to whatever wavelength that's supposed to be bringing that together. Now, I know this, um a lot of people have been given bad advice, because we say things like opposites attract, and so forth and so on. And there is some validity to that. But again, you have to be honest with yourself about what the opposite means of you or to you. And I think, because of lack of communication, because of the fact that sometimes people, truly get off kilt, like you said, with, some of the more trivial things. Well, you hyphenated my name. Let's be fair. In all fairness, and this is something that is not talked about enough. We always say that, well, I want to have a voice so I can, carry my, so that my name lives on. But that's only because supposedly the last name has been changed. But in all fairness, you really need to have daughters, because daughters have eggs and have babies. So that's really how your lineage carries on. But nobody knows that, because that's not what we were taught. We were taught, if you have a son, he impregnates somebody. But in all fairness, he's impregnating a different whole lineage. He's not carrying on yours. His is getting mixed with the lineage that was already there. Your daughters carry your lineage. But again, that's not talked about. We don't say that, because they duped us into believing it's the man and this and the third. And because of that, we think from that standpoint. We don't really look at the actual scientific proof to say, wow, I never even thought about it from that standpoint. So I'm saying that to say the hyphenated thing actually is probably a good thing because really that is how your name and your lineage carries on. Because your daughters are the one who carry on the name. It's not your sons. I know a lot of people that's going to mess a lot of people up because everybody's sitting there scratching their head. But wait a minute, you need the sperm and all. Yeah, you do. But your daughters have the actual lineage for your family, not your sons. Your sons help further somebody else's lineage. That's what we do as men. But nobody knows that because that's not something, again, anybody talks about. That's not even something people really actually understand. Fortunately, unfortunately, y'all know me. I'm the weird guy in the group, so I think a little deeper when it comes to
No, no,
certain
no.
things.
It's cool. It makes all the sense in the world what you're
You
saying.
know,
I
so
mean, but now again, go back to my point.
yes,
It don't really matter if it's a male or female kid now, because I have a girl. She's gonna keep her fucking name if she wants to anyway. That's what
yes,
my whole point is. Like
yes.
that, all that traditional shit,
It's out the window
is
now.
subjective.
It is.
But my point is, you still didn't touch on. Go back to the part where I want to reap on is when you whatever the thing is you buy into. There's a thing that thing requires.
Yes.
You hear me? So
Uh-huh.
like meaning you know that if you take a job in a night shift, you gotta be able to stay up. It's the fucking night shift.
True.
So it ain't no different than me when I first fully accepted and contracted to do radio. It's the fucking morning show. Like if we go on air at 6 a.m., that means I gotta be in there at 5:30. You know what I mean? And then you get off air at 10, those 4 hours, you're not done. You're still in the fucking building another 2, 3 hours prepping for the next show. So that when you come in, you're not look crazy all over the place. You gave us some format so that you have continuity for doing the show. So what I'm saying is I had to know when I was going to sign to do that show. Okay, what is it, 6 to 10 a.m.? Fuck. Here I am in the middle of my comedy kingdom, waking up at 11, 12, having, no care.
Yeah.
I don't care about nothing until noon. Now, motherfucker, I got, so the first thing I remembering was like, damn, saying to myself, because I would go right down Lincoln Ave from where I live. There's a gas station right before you get on the hutch, right? I would, if I needed gas, fill up. Even if I didn't need gas, I'm getting a newspaper. I'm getting my first coffee, whatever. Hitting that highway, I'm going down, find the West Side Highway, go to the station, right? But the first thing I noticed is like, damn, there's a whole nother world moving. Now, normally I would be asleep right now.
Yes.
And I'm watching these motherfuckers. I ain't the only motherfucker in there getting the coffee and
Getting
the
it.
paper. And so I'm meeting the people that's coming home now from their shift and the people that's going to a shift like me. And I'm like, yo, it's a whole fucking world going on at this
Yes.
wee hour in the morning. But my point is, when I agreed to step into said position, I knew that it was going to require something. And the things that it required, I had to be real with myself and say, T, can you do these things? Don't tell these people, yeah, and you can't do these things. And more importantly, at the time, Jeff and I were friends. Like at the time, I wasn't friends with Shayla yet. I didn't know Bob Slade personally yet. My boss is in that place, Toya Beasley, the program. There was a lot of pieces in the building that I didn't know personally. They knew of me, I knew of them, and whatever. We got to know each other over a 10, 15 year span. So it's like, okay, don't take this shit and make Jeff look. It would be me making Jeff look bad because that's my boy. He
Yes.
came after, he vouching, blah, blah, blah. So you got to be ready for that, is what I'm saying. Things that it entails. So with the marriage thing,
Mhm.
what I've seen by studying this shit, I would say from about 27 years now was when I started to study it. 27 years of watching, studying people that's up close and personal with me, best friends and blah, 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 relatives and niggas rotating couch downstairs that I used to have and all this shit. So just studying and then traveling too. When you travel and you meet different people and couples and people who are supposed to be married or separated or divorced or whatever, you learn a lot of moving parts. And all the moving parts, the one thing they all had in common is a lot of them was not 100% vested in the situation. Now, when I say that, Understand something. It's one thing that I believe in. I believe when it comes to two people getting together, love, relationship, whatever you want to call it, it's always, almost always slightly uneven. There's always somebody who loves somebody a little more. You understand what I'm
Correct.
saying? And there's no, I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way. It's just a fact. We could
Yes.
both love each other, and then somebody loves them a little
Just
more.
the,
It's
just
it's
the,
it's it's, it's usually slightly lopsided. So what the one common denominator during all this time and 27 years of watching married couples is that there's always a weak link and there's always somebody not fully vested or willing to do whatever it takes for the union. For the union. We talk about it on sports every day, all day on box seats, how we talk bad about certain players and hate certain players because they're selfish. They're not a team player. It's all about them. And da, 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 da. That's very similar to what I'm saying in this instance. If you got somebody that's still heavy on the single side instead of the unity couple side, and they're doing things to cover their ass as a person, as one entity,
yeah.
that is the beginning and the ingredients for the recipe of failure.
I agree with you. I think the bigger question though, to your point though, is were there, first of all, signs, because there's always signs of certain things. Even early on in the relationship, there's always
Nigga, you
signs.
got a bank account. That's a sign.
No, yeah, no question. But there's signs, and what tends to happen is, just like anything, when it's early and it's new, we're not paying attention to the signs because it's early and it's new. So you dismiss stuff.
Amir, real quick. Somebody, you in the car, and your wife like, damn, we need such a we ain't got no money in the account. But let me pull over. Let me get it out of my account. That bitch is like,
But yeah, you know
we
what's so
we have other money.
yeah, but to your point, it's funny because I think that, again, because of the way the world has been set up, just on a broader scale, we as individuals and as a collective, we've seen so many interesting things. So we tend to um, look at the situation and do our best to sometimes emulate the terrible things that we see and that we know. So, to your point about, watching marriages and friendships and relationships and, with and the people around you, we tend to sometimes utilize that as our barometer for how our relationship should go. And I try to stress to people that's not what you should be doing. Just because that's happening with your friend doesn't mean that's necessarily happening with you. Y'all are two other different individuals than those two, first off. And secondly, your race is a different race. We do too much of trying to compare because we looking at what's going on over there, and we fully vested in in all those things. And then you look up, and to your point, now we seem to be out of sorts. But that's because we tried to emulate something that doesn't have anything to do with us. But the biggest part to again truly address what you're saying is, I really just think that, first off, marriage is a farce and a lie.
Mm.
Bless everybody's hearts who's married. No disrespect to anybody who's married. I don't want anybody to send me hate mail later. But I think it's a farce and a lie from this standpoint. Inherently, most of us are selfish. That's just the fact. You can talk all the tough stuff you want. No, we're a union, and I love you, and it's to the ends of earth, and all that stuff. Look, I know this, and I know this, and some of y'all might have experienced this. Some of y'all might have gone through this. Some of you may not have gone through this. But you be in a relationship. And matter of fact, y'all were cracking jokes about this earlier today. You break up with a guy or you break up with a girl, depending on, where you are in your life and what your level of maturity is. You start going back, you're erasing old pictures.
Right.
Like, really? Like, come on.
Yeah,
You're a
man,
whole
that's
grown up.
stupid.
The fact that you had something with this person is what you had with this person. You can't negate that. And be fair, the reason why that person was in your life was probably to help you learn something. We live in this world now where we think that, I can't, I'm not gonna learn anything from this person. I'm not gonna learn anything from that person. And that's not true. You can learn something from anybody. You have to be open to whatever you're supposed to be learning, though. And so many of us are closed off because of bad situations and bad information or misinformation that we've gotten over the course of our lives. But bigger than that is this whole, space that we live in where, like I said, we don't necessarily honestly look at whomever we're building this union with and seeing where the pieces fit together. We're just doing it because he's cute. I mean, he's handsome, she's cute, whatever. But we really aren't looking at the true pieces that say, oh, okay, this kind of makes sense. And a lot of times that, like you said, that's what leads to the demise. The fact that it's a compromising situation. Look, I don't know about y'all. I'm born in Harlem. I'm raised in the Bronx. I do this till this day. There's not a place I walk into. I don't start looking for the exits the minute I get in that bitch, baby. Just making sure that it's just the truth. You we try to act like that's not a part of our DNA. You start looking for them X's. I don't give a daggone what's going on. You ain't wait a minute. Closest one is over there. Okay, I might have to kick her in the back, but that's all right. She'll survive. Whatever. That's I think that's human nature. But I think that again, I don't think that we are doing enough of being honest with ourselves about that. And I'm looking at the comments, and people are making some wonderful comments in the comments, and then including, how you're close and good with your ex now and all that stuff. But you have to grow to that. When the two of you first broke up, you couldn't stand each other. You ain't really want to talk to them on the phone. You blocking them and so forth and so on. And I always tell people this. I'm sure in the chat, as well as telling them myself, I have truly been to marriages or weddings where I was like, oh, this is dope. Horse-drawn carriage, doves, all this beautiful stuff. I'm like, oh, this is absolutely incredible. Then a month or two later, both of them is at each other's throats. I'm like, well,
That's what that's
what
what I be telling people. You think I'm at your wedding because I think you guys are gonna make it? Fuck no. It's an open bar. I heard open bar. I couldn't wait. I couldn't grab my blazer quick enough. Open bar
I get
for
to sit
four
here,
hours.
smile, look at this, and really judge, who's in the room. Because
Hey,
even
you
at
look beautiful.
weddings,
I'm not telling no lie. You look beautiful today. I always say today. You look
because
beautiful
a week from
today.
now, a month from now, is all bets is off. Look, I think that again, and like I said, Trina, Miss Alfreda, I think that like I said, I'm not saying that's everybody's story, but like I said, we do have situations where sometimes that's people's stories. As I shared with y'all about the thing, my daughter's mom was in the building. To really make y'all laugh, it was another ex that she dated that was in the building too. We found that out by accident. She came over and asked me, "Amir, who's that with the hoodie on?" I said, "His name is such such." "Oh, I used to date him." "Really?" This is so. We both, and I knew him extremely well. So he comes over and tells me, "Hey, bro." I said, "Man, listen, me and her are good to go right now. We in a great space. We got a beautiful daughter. We got beautiful grands. My G, salute. It is what it is." Look, I'll say this because this is motivational Monday, and I do mean this. We have to start understanding that when you meet people, wherever you meet them, you're walking in on that chapter. That means this book had chapters before you, and if you don't last, there'll be some chapters after you. So we got to start understanding that you just walked in on this chapter. And for you, this chapter may be a little, quirky and
Like,
crazy,
yo,
but
what chapter I'm in, yo? What chapter?
you know what I'm saying? And you're right, Sharon. The marriage isn't for everybody, and I think that that's something else that we, again, have to be honest with ourselves about. So many people are walking around, and I always say this because when people speak to me about marriage, I look at it like this. I think people think of marriage as like going to Sandals or going to Disneyland or something like that. I'm like, look, that's not a destination, y'all. You know, you don't get there and get the ears, and then everything is hunky dory. That joint is a constant, all day, every day, body of work, and it requires listening, it requires compromise, it requires sacrifice, but that goes both ways. See, one of the things that we lose in the translation, we learn each other's love language, and then he or she is catering to you, but you're not catering back to them, and then you talk about, well, you're not giving me everything I need. Well, you're not giving me everything I need either, so we kind of in the same boat.
Let's just break this shit up.
You
Let's just go.
know,
Let's just break this shit up. You go to Blimpies, I go to Wendy's. Call it a day. Listen,
and keep it keep it
and keep
pushing,
it
pimping.
pushing, and no love
Yeah.
lost. Here's the thing. First of all, I'm gonna forget shout outs. Got some shout outs because you know they had the SAG Awards, the Screen Actor Guild
Okay.
Awards. So some of our people and some of the shows I've been telling people about, we got some winners. First of all, Michael Keaton. Shout out to him for winning for Dope Sick, Best Actor in the series. Dope Sick, for all the people that didn't see it, is a show that I recommend everyone see because it covers the big pharma and how they push these drugs and
Okay.
cheat their way to get the FDA
Hey.
approvals and all that to get it out on the market, and they don't care how addictive it is and all this. So this is dealing with when OxyContin came out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But he plays this doctor and is really deep because he's a doctor in a small town, and he ends up getting strung out on the joint and have to go to rehab and come out. It's crazy. So Dope Sick is a very dope series. People check that out with Michael Keaton. He won Best Actor of Series last night. Another show I've been telling people about. A lot of people know Billions. I'm like, if you like Billions, you need to watch Succession.
Okay.
Succession picked up an award for ensemble cast of a series. This is crazy. These billionaires and everybody wants the power and all that, and how deep they go, and it's crazy. It's kind of like I would say House of Cards is like the political version of it, or the power
Oh, okay.
play. Remember House
Uh-huh.
of Cards, how good that was?
Yes.
But it was politics. This is more corporate, these billionaire corporate structures, and just doing things. But congratulations, that's one of my shows. Remember Squid Games? Squid
Okay.
Games picked up 3 or 4 last night. You know what I mean? Squid Games was hot. You had to give it something. And last but not least, we got to give it up for the big homie, Will Smith,
Okay.
King
Okay.
Richard, best actor in the film.
Nice. Nice.
Will Smith picked that joint up. Speaking of Will Smith, I just got to take my hat off to the show Bel Air. Now,
I'm hearing.
it ain't been out long enough to be a part of the awards. I'm just saying that as a segue off of, we mentioned Will Smith, and this is the Fresh Prince, but a now version. Bruh, I really, really fucks with this show. Like, it's so much about it, from the music to the seriousness, how they developed a whole different thing, all
Mm-hmm.
the way up into the casting is ridiculously dope. Like the casting, because you first thing you notice is when you see everybody that you know before, from Uncle Phil to Jeffrey and all that, when you see the casting of this, it sets the tone of okay, this is how we playing this. We're not playing this ha ha he over the top. We playing this like this has to be believably of what we're doing here, because it didn't go deep in the TV show, obviously, for obvious reasons. It was a sitcom. It was made to
Yeah.
be goofy and funny. But this is more like, no, I'm gonna tell you really what happened. You know what I mean? I
Gotcha.
shot the gun and this dude got shot and this dude got killed, and and the change of the mindset of the young Philly dude who now is seeing his mind's opening up to opportunity, and the sky's the limit where he can go, as opposed to just going home. He kind of know where he can go. So very, very, very good. Very
Okay.
good. So first of all, congratulations to the winners last night. And if you're not privy to seeing some of these things that we just mentioned, again, go check them out, man. Succession is good. Billions is good. Dope Sick is great. Bel Air is great. I even like the movie King Richard with Will Smith.
Okay.
I thought he did a great job in there. Because Will Smith, he's a friend, but as an actor, if I was to critique, it's like he does not always believable to me. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like I didn't believe him as Ali, but I believed him as King Richard. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
The Pursuit of Happiness, I believe that character. You know what I mean? Independence Day. So I believe him in more than not, which makes him great to me anyway. So
Yes.
that's a dope thing in itself. You know what I mean? So kudos to the guys and the ladies that won last night at the Screen Actors Guild Awards.
I was gonna say I also saw quite a few people looking very nice too for the award show. I saw Kerry Washington's outfit. I
I seen
saw.
that.
I think Halle Berry had some really dope trailer, like tail joint that was short and whatever. So look, the one thing that we know is we have to continue to celebrate one another. Look, I know everybody doesn't share everybody's points of views, and that's fine too. This is not a world where we're actually supposed to share everybody's points of views, but please understand that opinions and points of views are just that, opinions and points of views. It doesn't mean that it's the end all, the be all. It doesn't mean it's the bona fide truth. It just means that that's somebody's version of how they see something, which is more than okay. We
Yeah.
have to stop, acting and feeling as though everything has to be black and white, and somebody has to be right and somebody has to be wrong.
Oh,
No,
I'm glad
no,
you said that. I'm glad you said that.
no.
Perfect
We have
segue into the
we
last
we
part of this thing.
we
Great
we
segue.
we, we
I
have to.
forgot until you just said that.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody inboxed me
Mm-hmm.
today, and you know how people put on the little caption underneath, they'd be like, "Yo, watch it to the end" or whatever. So they were like, "Yo, watch this when you get a minute, more than a minute is long. Watch this, and watch to the end or whatever." So what the clip they sent me was the video clip of this past episode of Godfrey's podcast and Godfrey We Trust. Now, did you hear what happened? Let me go back to bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, well, not everybody, most people know right now, as of recently, as of a month and a half ago, superstar rapper T.I. has gotten into stand-up comedy.
Yes.
Like he's dead serious. He's dead serious, jumped on the stage. He liked it. The people who supposedly liked him, and it was like invited him back. And next thing you know, here we are 6 weeks forward. So what happened is, and even Tony Roberts, speaking to my good friend Tony Roberts, he was like, "Yo, man, T.I. serious about this thing, man. He's like been popping up at certain shows in certain cities, man. And can he get up? Can he open up? I let him up, right?" So apparently, now for the people who don't know, there is some sort of low-key battle going on in the comedy world between the regular club comics and the Instagram social media comics.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of traditional comedians, stand-up comedians who don't appreciate people getting a little notoriety and fame, and all they're doing is little videos on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. So that does exist, just to put that out there. So apparently, our good friend Godfrey, who's a friend of the show, Godfrey on his podcast starts to talk about he just was headlining a weekend in Atlanta. And he said it was Thursday night, but so Thursday night he's in there. And he said when it's a night where he don't have a show that he got to rush to get to the second show, he stretches out. So he's like, I'm the headliner. I'm stretched out. I do about an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes. He said when he gets off, or I don't know if he met him when he got off or right before he went up, but he met T.I. in the dressing room, whatever. He found out he was there. They shook hands. They had word. Oh, man, big fan, whatever, whatever. So after he gets off, they were like, oh, T.I. is going to go up for a few minutes, whatever. Now, hearing Godfrey's thing, I understand where he was coming from. There is a comedy club etiquette that you're really not supposed to put nobody behind the headliner or do time behind them. I mean, the exceptions to that rule is if the headliner stinks it up and you feel like you need people to leave on a better note. That's that's the caveat. So apparently, Godfrey did good. He felt he did good. He did an hour 40, gets off, and then T.I. goes, they bring T.I. up, and he's like, so I guess somebody said something to the fact that, like, you're going out there to watch him. And he was like, hell no, I'm not going to watch him. I'm out of here. Like, but the way he said it or whatever the tone, T.I. took it like a disrespect. So this little whirlwind starts over the weekend after that happens. And there's this invisible beef supposedly out there. So Godfrey, being the dude he is like, fuck that. They spoke on the phone, set it up. Hey, come on the podcast. Let's talk about it. Boom, boom, boom. Now, personally, to me, listening to this clip, you guys can pull it up. It's on YouTube. It's the T.I. episode in Godfrey We Trust podcast. To me, he was doing a little backpedaling. because Ti it was saying straight up, like he wasn't stepping on no eggshells and trying to mend his words, and that he was coming at him straight up. Nah, motherfucker, the way you said that though. Da, 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 da. So the argument becomes, now, mind you, there's three other comics in the room: Rip Michaels, Ali Sadiq, and my man Dante, this kid Dante, and Garfield. So four total, and then Ti's on the phone, and he's expressing. Now, after listening to the whole thing, what I come away with is this, and this is what it triggered the thought, is when you said, "Hey, man, that's that person's POV." Ti was making a point of, bro. He said, "I've heard it all. I heard it from, oh man, you should. It ain't the way you come up. You should do the open mics and this and that. We work hard for it, and you just come in and And Ti was like, bro, my story ain't your story. Like, everybody's story ain't the same. So after listening to the whole podcast and where everybody stood on it, I was like, you know what? He's right, and he's right. But depending on your POV and how you feel about it, there's no wrong answer here. That man is right. I'm Ti. Maybe I because I've built a life for myself as an entertainer, I got a little VIP pass to get right to the stage. I'm not Joe Brown that's coming
Who?
from walking out of Iona to try open mic. I'm already on the mic. I'm already this guy. So I'm using that to catapult into the next thing. He said, I understand, but I can't give a fuck about you mad because I do have. He said, I did that. I built that. Like that came from hard work too. And I can't be mad. Yo, bro, your story ain't my story, and my story ain't your story. So in that essence, he was absolutely right. And then at the same time, the other guys who felt like, well, man, he said, like, for example, they gave a couple of examples. Like, you was in LA, man, you just got right up to do Chocolate Sunday. The long the waiting list is for the average guy that's trying to get some stage time on at the Laugh Factory to do Chocolate Sundays. And he was like, bro, that's not my problem though. Like, I can't be worried about that. You know what I mean? That's your problem. If you see it a problem, that's yours and not mine. So this thing, I want you to check, everybody out there viewing and listening to, check out this episode. I thought it was very interesting. I felt Godfrey was doing a little backpedaling. Ti was coming steam forward ahead and relentless with his points and getting them off. He said, you got, what did he say? He said a funny analogy he used. It was like, you gotta crawl before you walk. He said, I understand the old bitter comedian saying, oh man, you gotta crawl before you walk. He said, nigga, a shark is born in the water.
Yeah.
He said the nigga born swimming.
Yeah. And it's funny because again, everything is a point of view. I it's funny because I tend to do exactly that. I look at all these, obscure clips of, various things that are going on, just not only in the comic world, just in general and stuff like that. And that's how I've come to the realization that we live in this funny bubble where everybody perceives whatever it is their journey is to be the end all to be. And I'm like, no, bro, that's just your journey. That ain't got nothing to do with anybody else's journey, one. And then exactly to your point, look, there are people and things that just transcend other things. I was paying attention to Mike Shannon's show this morning. I was listening in. I didn't get a chance to get on. By the time I did get a chance to get on, I forgot to address this point. We live in a world now where quote unquote people have been dubbed or given titles of influencers and all these nefarious things. And I try to point this out to people because I noticed, first of all, everybody seems to be going to see the Michael Jackson show on Broadway. They must be giving them tickets away because I ain't never seen this many black people I know go to Broadway. But that's a whole nother story for another day. But with that having been said, this is what I will say about it. I saw a post, and this happened probably last year or the beginning of this year or something like that, where Drake had gone on record saying that he's bigger than Michael. And I think me and you talked about this off air, but we didn't talk about this on air. So I'm going to talk about this on air real quick. Look, I get it. Drake is probably the hottest thing in the last 10 years or so, 15 years, easy. And his numbers are incredible. And, how and what he's talking about or whatever he's doing is incredible. But let's be clear. Drake is a product of this time and this era, meaning that he has social media on his side. When Michael did what he did, there was no social media. So when he was selling out stadiums, Wimbledon Stadium in London and the various other stadiums around the world, this was done by word of mouth and by who the hell he was and what he brought to the table. So I always tell people, you give Mike that same thing now, he'd crush all of these dudes without even blinking. So let's we got to give the full Rodney Perry hands for those of y'all who don't catch the box seats. We got to give y'all the full Rodney Perry hands sometimes when y'all get into these opinions about whatever it is y'all think y'all are so right about. Because the reality of it all is it's this time and this era that is allowing for some of this supposed, ooh, I'm the whatever. Cats like talent, like they said, they were built in a time and an era where everybody was a shark. Iron was sharpening iron. Def Jam, if you didn't have an opportunity to go to a live taping of the show and or watch the show, and y'all can go back and check them now, everybody who was on those shows was powerful. Everybody on them shows was dope. So you had to come with whatever your best amount of minutes was, because if you didn't, you wasn't first of all gonna make the show, and then secondly, we probably wouldn't know you right now.
Yeah,
So I
and
say
plus
that.
POV is everything. And my thing is this: I've never been a dude. And I've done a lot of stuff, bro. From playing basketball to playing football to being a graffiti artist to DJing to being a rapper to being an actor to being a comic to being a warehouse manager when I had a jobby job, I call it. I never really looked at it like whoever else. The only thing I will tell you, let me take that back. The jobby job. That was the only time I could tell you that I felt some sort of way, and that was for a little deeper reasoning, being like, when it was time to give out a promotion, right? See, I started off working in the warehouse, right? After a certain amount of years, I'm the main guy, and now you find yourself as a company looking for a warehouse manager. I'm right here. So they would go for a few times, at least 3-4 tries. They would go put an ad out. They would make calls. People would ship people in, all this to try to, and kept giving that title right around me like I ain't there. And I kind of, part of me didn't get really upset because I understood I was very young at the time. So I understood that part. But there was that part of me of like, after about 2-3 years and I was close with the actual owners and all that stuff, it was like, bruh, you see how
What
I carry myself. You can count on me and set your watch to it, bro. I'm that kind of worker, right? So after 3 flops, it was like, you want the position? Of course I want the fucking position. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Implying that you didn't know, or let's see if, no, the fuck I kill you. So that was the only time. But as an entertainer, I never it didn't matter. I fell out with one of my best buddies in my clique because he was a bona fide actor. I'm talking, this brother was going on auditions. He had the acting classes. He was investing the money, the headshots, da. Here I come, just some funny guy that happens to fit a criteria. And they send me in and was like, oh, this guy fits the physical criteria. Shit, if this motherfucker can act, we good. And just so happens, I fucking sit around and watch movies any free chance I get, movies and TV. So without an acting class or anything, I just go in there, boom, everybody's like, bring him back tomorrow. Bring him back tomorrow. And after 3-4 of those motherfuckers, boom, you got Sunset Park, first movie you hit. But me and him fell out because he felt some sort of way because he's a bona fide actor. He's legit. And he was mad as a motherfucker that I got a movie, a motion picture role. And he never did an ounce of acting. And we had for a long time, we had this thing. But I've never been that person that, I don't care how you get it. I'm more about applauding my peoples and don't let me know you. Shit, if I know you, even more. You know what I mean? Like, I text motherfuckers randomly. When I seen the announcement of Wendy Williams' show turning into the Sherry Shepherd show. I couldn't wait to text Sherry Shepherd. Hey sis, that's what's up. Look good. Congratulations. I love to see us win. Oh man, how you been? Down that? Don't even worry about it. This is nothing but keep banging.
Yes.
Earthquake. Oh, it should be in release. Hey player, huh? You know what it is. You know what we've been through, nigga. Proud. Good to see you glowing. Make it shine. Boom. You know how we. Boom. Nothing but letting you know I'm watching, and if I'm watching, people watching, and they proud of you. You understand? So when social media became what it is now, and all of these people started to pop up, oh, Ricky Ticky Tabby, Big Eye Paul, blah blah. So big, he's funny as hell. He got the video, but and people send them all the time. Do I laugh? Sometimes I laugh. Sometimes I shake my head like it's just horrible.
Yeah.
Somebody thought this was funny, but it's not. But sometimes I'm laughing. If I'm laughing, y'all see me, I'll share it.
Yeah.
If I really think it's funny, I'll share the bitch on my page so everybody can see it in the story, in the post, or whatever. But there is a constituency amongst my brethren and sisters that they don't respect them because of what they may have had to do to get where they are. So they look at them as like, how dare you shit on what I'm doing? So that's what I'm saying. It's a right thing. They're not wrong, but
But
this guy is
it's
also right. He sees an opportunity. He sees in a moment trying to capitalize and better himself. He's right too.
yeah. And I, I'll say this, and I guess we'll, kind of close on this. To your point, and I always tell people is it goes back to something that you always talk about, which is the bank of karma. And I don't know if people realize how powerful that bank is. I've shared it a million times over, especially on, the various projects that I work on with you. Talent can tell you, like I said, he's known me for years. I'm background. Look, you got New Edition. I'm definitely in the background.
you early Ricky Bell.
Yeah, yeah, you understand what I'm saying? We ain't making no noise. But, this man took a chance on me, brought me on here one day, and I haven't looked back since. But the amount of people who seem to have taken notice since, and I thank him all the time for this, is because of what he saw. Because for me, like I said, I get on here, my talking to y'all is therapeutic, it's fun, it's
I
just an
agree.
opportunity for me to do something that's not in my normal wheelhouse. I have a gift of gab. I didn't think of it in friends. I don't. It never dawned on me this was something that I could do or needed to do for anything other than to help my friends, and I still feel that way. So, for the Alfredas of the world, and for the Tina Pinkerts, and Marlene Browns and Sharondas, I love all of y'all because y'all help me have material. You guys help me get better at this thing, and more so than anything, it's a community. We built a community.
We did.
Some communities build quicker and faster, but again, it's just based on what the energy was initially that sparked it. This particular community, we spend so much time checking on each other, sharing with each other, making sure everybody's good within the community, and that by itself and by right of what Motivational Mondays is about is what this is all about. Making sure that we do everything that we can to cheer each other, sow into, pour into one another, and most importantly, cheer for the wins. Because when y'all win, and I don't care how big or small you think the win is, I'm there in the front row. Y'all know I'm in your comments. I'm sending hearts and all these other nefarious things because I know some of us don't necessarily have that kind of cheering squad. Now, it is what it is, and that doesn't make it fair either, but that's unfortunately one of the drawbacks of life. But when you find people who cheer for you, they try to, do everything they can to make sure that your light is illuminated. You do the same thing for them as well. And
Speaking
I
of that, thank
promise
you
you.
for my vibe of the day every day.
Yes, yes. Look, I kid you not, T. That is so powerful, for
Sure,
me.
Rhonda's an ass.
That is that is so powerful for me, and I like I said, I love sending that out because I realize again so many of us are inundated with so many interesting things, just based off of all of the stuff that we go through on a daily basis, and it's a lot. But if you could take that moment and at least something pours into you that maybe you've been, feeling like I'm not sure, but it pushes you over the edge. I get so many inboxes and so many people thanking me and telling me, Amir, you have no idea. I get all kind of beautiful quotes, but I look forward to yours. So I'm humbled by all of that, and trust and believe, guys. I'm thankful and mindful because, like I said, all I want to do is see us all win. I can't wait till everybody's walking across the various stages and you see us in the crowd like this, like proud parents. All right, there you got. I see you. Because that's what, again, like I said, this is what this is all about. We just got to keep pushing each other. We got to keep sewing into each other, and most importantly, tune in, tell a friend, check unconditional love. You're absolutely right. Make sure your people are good, and more importantly, like I said, than anything, work on you. Be the best version of you can be, because that is what the world needs. All this other stuff, but we need the best version of you because that's what helps turn that on in others. I love you guys. It's Monday. Make it do what it do this week.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, you just never know. It might be a pop up, or it could be Friday when you see us again. But
You
either
never
way,
know. You never
we
know.
appreciate it.
Salute everybody. Happy Motivated Monday. We love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Peace.
Peace.